Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and this is the Tuesday evening special edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and then we will get to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, you're going to see a video pop up here at the very end of this video. And if you like that, hit the subscribe button. Up here is going to be Stargirl, so it's going to come up there. If you want to know when I'm going live again next, you can hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at my weekly schedule that I post up there, and also all the links to my social media is up there as well. So Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. And take a look at that kind of stuff. And then also I post that same schedule up on my Facebook page as well. And speaking of Facebook, there's a Facebook group page which you guys can post stuff on and chat amongst yourselves. So all right, I was reaching for the spoiler paddle by because it's Tuesday, not Saturday, but still that's what I was doing. I was reaching for the spoiler paddle. I'm just gonna get straight into things. Yes, I know what's going on in the world out there and stuff like that. This hopefully is a little bit of a distraction for everybody for a little bit of time for just geek and nerd news and what stuff like that. So yeah, keeping politics out of this, keeping everything else out of this, and we'll be nerds for a little bit. How about that? That sound good? So, rumor is that Lucasfilm is casting for a live action Admiral Thrawn for a new Disney Plus Star Wars series. Now, I talked about this a while back, a couple of weeks ago, when Timothy Oliphant was actually cast. They said he was cast on season 2 of The Mandalorian, and I said he would make a perfect Admiral Thrawn. Little did I know he was actually being cast as somebody else, supposedly. We don't know for sure. But yeah, that's what's going on. And on top of that news, they also want to cast a live action Ezra Bridger as well. They were talking about someone in their 30s to 40, 30 to 40 age range is what they're talking about. So who would make a good candidate for that? That's a good question. Thrawn, like I said, Timothy Oliphant would have made an awesome Thrawn. He would have made a fucking awesome Thrawn, quite honestly. I know that the guy from iZombie, now I'm blanking on his name, Kali. Uh, shit, I'm blanking on his name. So he's the one who worked with Liv in the morgue. He was the doctor in the morgue, essentially the head doctor there. He wants to actually play Ezra Bridger. And I'm like, yeah, actually that would work because again, they're looking for somebody in between 30 and 40 years of age. Because remember, Rebels took place before Return of the Jedi. Actually took place before A New Hope. So yeah, it's out there. That would be awesome, quite honestly. And I'm hoping that this is actually the Ahsoka Tano series that I've been talking about, that wanting to do that as well. Wow, so sorry, I just looked over at my phone, all of a sudden my Twitter blew up all of a sudden. It was just kind of weird. I just saw something scrolling by really, really quickly, which never happens. So yeah, for Thrawn, if you're gonna go for an older, like skinnier Thrawn kind of thing, and you want to do somebody mean, but probably in their say 50s or 60s, something like that. Shit, I don't know who you could go for. I would always say Alan Tudyk. You could always bring him in. He does some really scary bad guys, really scary bad guys. I think that would actually work quite well, but maybe I'm wrong. I got people lurking in there. Is that what's going on? I've got people lurking. That's what's happening. So just seeing who's out there. That's that kind of thing. So yeah, so we've got live action Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger to look forward to. And yeah, we already know that we're getting the Ahsoka Tano. We already know that we're getting Bo-Katan as well, and most likely Sabine Wren, most likely Rex as well. So yeah, this is all falling into line. Again, this is not rocket science, quite honestly. This is not me predicting the future or having a time machine going to the future, watching the episodes and then coming back and then saying, ha 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 ha. Ha. As far as you know, anyway. No, this is just me looking at the news and kind of sussing out what's going on. Jon Favreau, honestly, is really freaking horrible about keeping secrets because of that chef show that he has on Netflix. Everyone that he works with, he ends up on that show, and again, they end up that kind of telegraphs as to what's going to happen there. Bub's Revenge says, personally, I'd rather see them continue to be animated characters. I don't know. I want to see the live action stuff. Tell you the truth, Bub's Revenge. I like the animated stuff too, but I want Dave Filoni to grow a bit more. I love what he's done in The Mandalorian. He has branched out a little bit. He has gotten over his fear of directing. If you've watched, I've got to go back actually myself and watch the Disney's Masters series where they're talking about the Mandalorian and making it, and then his whole thing talking about directing for the first time and using John, to find out what he's doing wrong in live action, where he's like, I could draw this faster than what I'm, doing here. Yeah, I'd much rather see what he's going to do live action wise, and then yes, later on come back and do some new animated stuff as well. But if you're going to do some animated stuff, I want to move beyond the Skywalker, era, if you will, and do something else. Either go forward or, you know what, we've gone back enough. I want to go forward, like a far forward. Bub's Revenge says, but in Favreau and Filoni's hands, I'm willing to give it a chance. Yeah, exactly. They have captured the spirit of Star Wars very, very well. They've created strong characters. Both of them have, and enjoyable characters too, and enjoyable storylines. And it's not complicated. It's not like you need to make this shit complicated. You really don't. And you don't need to. You can invoke the past, but not live in it. Yeah. No problem, Pen. You'll be docked on pay. That's all. Yeah, so that is, I'm looking forward to more of this kind of stuff, quite honestly. It's good stuff. They're breaking ground also in cinematography, special effects, things like that as well, and it's something that Lucas was looking at. And I vaguely remember when he was shooting the prequels of him talking about using the effects that they are using to shoot the Mandalorian now. And it was, that was 20 years ago that he wanted to do that kind of stuff, over 20 years ago. And now they're starting to get to this. And that's kind of fucking amazing, quite honestly. So Cobra Kai season 3, which is on YouTube, season 1 and 2 are on YouTube right now, of course. Season 3, on the other hand, is either going to be on Netflix or Hulu. That's right. YouTube has relinquished control of Cobra Kai. And now it's going to either Netflix or Hulu. They're basically bidding on it right now. And whoever wins out, of course, is going to get, they're going to get to show seasons 1 and 2. And then, of course, the season 3 is already in the can. It's already done. And that's what's going on right now with the pandemic happening. People can't shoot. They can't shoot series. They can't shoot movies, anything like that. So anything that's already done or near done is in high quantity right now, high demand. That's why you're getting the Snyder Cut, quite honestly. You're not getting the Snyder Cut because it's good or because it's almost done or, anything like that. You're getting it because there's pieces of it out there that they can create a different movie, if you will, and HBO Max has zero content. They have zero new content out there, and they're not going to get a lot of new content until Doom Patrol comes out, unless you count, Looney Tunes cartoons, which were okay, and what is it, Legends or something like that. There's some series that honestly I just can't watch. So yeah, there's really nothing on HBO Max to watch. So that's the reason why you're getting the Snyder Cut, by the way. Man. But yeah, that's what's happening is you're getting a bidding war on Cobra Kai because it's done. Season 3 is in the can. And then also YouTube just doesn't want to pay for it anymore because they're not their foray into the streaming services didn't go well. So they're back to ad-based revenue is what they're doing. Which you probably saw an ad before you watched my show or something like that. If you're watching it, the recording of this. You may see ads in it or something like that. I don't know. So I don't see that kind of stuff when I'm looking at my stuff because, of course, I'm the content creator. So, of course, they don't want to mess up my view of it. But I see it on other people's stuff. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Cobra Kai Season 3 will either be at Netflix or on Hulu. And speaking of Netflix, Tom Ellis has signed a new deal to become Lucifer again for a 6th season at Netflix. So yeah, he is going to be Lucifer again. He's over at Netflix, and he was holding out for a better deal from Warner Brothers, and I don't blame him. His contract was already up. He wasn't going to be getting that much money, and then also the pandemic hit, and fuck, more power to him if he got a lot of money out of him, because that's what needed to happen for him, to tell you the truth. So good stuff. I haven't watched Lucifer, quite honestly. It's too procedural for me. It's a procedural cop show that happens to have Satan in it, and it doesn't interest me. Yeah, sorry. If you enjoy it, great. There you go. You've got another season to look forward to on that. So something weird here. Kate Blanchett supposedly has joined Eli Roth's Borderlands, which I believe is based on the video game, if I'm not mistaken. He's doing a Borderlands movie, and she's going to be playing a character called Lilith, who is, quote, a siren and thief equipped with magical skills, end quote. Okay. That just sounds weird enough that I may have to see it, just because, well, one, I like Kate Blanchett. Kate Blanchett's good. I'm not a big fan of Eli Roth, but I'll give it a shot and see. Now that Eli Roth has moved past the whole torture porn shit that he was doing early on in his career, and he still does gore and whatnot, but not to the point that he was doing in Hostel and Hostel 2 and all that kind of stuff, which is good because, not my cup of tea. It might be other people's, but it's not mine. So, what else I got here? Oh, yeah. So, Wanda Vision has supposedly cast the other Quicksilver from the Fox movies, Evan Peters, in a mystery role. No one knows what it is. There's been some speculation. There's not speculation. Yeah, it is speculation. Speculation that he could be playing Quicksilver, another Quicksilver from a multiverse. Because remember, we are dealing with multiverses in WandaVision, supposedly. It ties into Doctor Strange 2. We already know this. And Doctor Strange 2 is supposed to be titled Doctor Strange 2, something about the multiverse. Yeah. And so people are going, well, what if she really, really missed Quicksilver and plucks this Quicksilver or this version of him from a different world, from a different multiverse, and it's the Fox multiverse, and maybe somehow opens up a rift between those two worlds, and that's how you get mutants coming in, is through that little rift or something like that. That could be a possibility. I mean, that would be a good way of bringing in mutants. You could already have them established. Other people have said that, there's been a whole bunch of theories about the MCU and how Professor X is maybe blanketing mutants so that the world doesn't know about them. But that seems like way beyond his power set. Because if he can make an entire world not see mutants, he's just kind of wasting his talents then at that point, because he could pretty much do anything he wants. Yeah, Penn, it's not the worst plotline I've heard either. So, but it is a series. It's a series on Disney Plus, Wanda Vision. I believe it's 13 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll see how that goes. That's supposed to be coming in October. No, Mandalorian's in October. WandaVision was supposed to be December, but now I think they might have pushed it back because I don't think they were done filming most of their stuff. So we'll see. I have it as a blank spot on my on my list of future stuff that's going on. Yeah. Yes, and speaking of Doctor Strange too. So Scott Derrickson, who did the first movie, Doctor Strange, he has left, of course, and we of course we're getting the great Sam Raimi in this one. But Scott Derrickson is supposedly set to direct a sequel to Labyrinth. Yes, the old 80s David Bowie movie with Jennifer Connelly. And if you had done this in the 80s, a second Labyrinth movie, sure, I probably would have been all over it. But no, I'm not really interested in Labyrinth now. What is it? 30 years later, 40 years later, something like that. And I mean, you'd have to really fucking hit it out of the park for me to get it behind this. And also, Scott Derrickson's just not the greatest. Yeah, and you can't do it without Bowie. I mean, Bowie's dead, man. Or he went back to his planet of origin, one of the two. But yeah, he's not here. Yeah, no Bowie, no Labyrinth. Exactly, Bub. I agree. And yes, Penn, I agree with you about Loki too. I want to see Loki. That one's definitely on the back burner for right now because I don't think they even started filming that one. I know that Falcon and Winter Soldier is definitely on the back burner. That one's on the back burner because they haven't filmed any of it yet. Or they filmed a little bit of it, but not enough to make a difference. So, yeah. So that was my tie-in for Doctor Strange 2 is Scott Derrickson directing Labyrinth 2. Come on. And speaking of disappointments, Ryan Gosling is going to be Universal Pictures' next Wolfman. So because the Invisible Man stalker film that happened that went out on direct to video and all that kind of stuff because of the closures and everything, theater closures, because it did so well on direct to video, now they've greenlit the Universal Monsters thing again. It's on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again, so now it's on again, and now Ryan Gosling is supposed to be playing the Wolfman for Universal Pictures. Okay, sure. Hopefully they do CGI. That way they can actually emote some emotion onto the Wolfman's face. Because that's something Ryan Gosling cannot do. I'll tell you, this is Ryan Gosling happy. This is Ryan Gosling sad. This is Ryan Gosling angry. Yeah, the man does not emote at all. Penn says, I like them British boys. Cumberbatch, Hiddleston, Tennant. Yeah, I just Gosling, he's a good cameo actor. I think that's about it. Have him in a very small role. He's pretty enough. You can pop him in something, like for 2 or 3 minutes, and then that's it. Yeah. Bub's Revenge says, don't know what's worse, Gosling as Wolfman or the Twilight dude as Batman. Pattinson as Batman. Yeah, again, like I said, we haven't seen any footage yet of him. I've seen him act in other stuff, and he can actually act. I'll give him a chance as Batman. Ryan Gosling, I've seen act in quite a few different things and doesn't emote at all. So I can't give him the benefit of the doubt, at this point. My only thing with Pattinson is he needs to bulk up like big time. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Gosling isn't a bad actor, but he just can't fucking emote for shit. I imagine Val Kilmer as the Bat either. Oh, you couldn't imagine Val Kilmer? I liked Val Kilmer. He was okay. The only thing is he played him a little too smirky, I guess you can say, Batman, and that was all Joel Schumacher. That's the reason why. So that was all Joel Schumacher's fault on that one. And he went very campy with the material. That's because Joel Schumacher was basing it more on on Batman 1966 than he was on Burton's Batman, which this all, came about from. Yeah. Then of course Nolan's like, no, fuck that. I'm going to make him real and see what you can really do with all this kind of stuff and make a real Batmobile that can really jump. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, the same thing happened with Heath Ledger when Heath Ledger was first cast as the Joker. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, Heath Ledger!" And there was, riots and people, screaming that they were going to sign petitions and whatnot. And he's the fucking best Joker ever. Aside from Mark Hamill, yes, Mark Hamill does the voice Joker, does him well, but I'm talking physical live action actor. Heath Ledger is at the top of that list. And Jared Leto at the very bottom. Actually, he's buried under the list someplace in a grave in where Jimmy Hoffa is. Actually, Jimmy Hoffa is in multiple graves, so that's a different thing altogether. So Blumhouse, they want to make you remember that movie Upgrade that came out about 2 or 3 years ago? I don't know if everyone saw it. It's actually on Netflix. It's decent. It's a low budget movie, but they did a really good job with it. So Blumhouse wants to make that into a TV series that starts a few years after the movie. Now, if you saw the movie and you know what the ending is, the ending is pretty good, pretty dark ending. I'll say that. Yeah, it's supposed to be a few years after that. I'm kind of interested in seeing where this goes. Blumhouse, yes, is known for horror and all that kind of stuff. I want to see where they're going to take this one. Now they're going to have to be put on the right streaming service in order to show this. It's not going to go on Disney Plus, that's for sure. My guess is that they really want to put it, well, damn. I mean, if you put it on Netflix or Amazon, they're going to dump it all at once. It's going to be forgotten about. Although Netflix, like I said, is experimenting right now with weekly releases of episodes. They're doing it mostly with their foreign content. They're not doing it with the domestic content at the moment. But who knows? Amazon would be a good place to do it. Like, again, but just dumping it all at once would just suck. It really would. Apple TV, no one's really watching that thing, Bub's Revenge. I know everyone says, oh, I got Apple and all that. From what I understand, their subscriber base is really, really, really small. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of, so you've got Netflix, which has, what did they say last I heard, 120 million subscribers, somewhere around there. And Disney Plus, I think, is the next one with 50 to 60 million subscribers, somewhere around there. Amazon does have a big subscriber base as well. I think Disney just kind of outpaces them by a little bit right now. But Apple TV is like way at the bottom. They're not, I don't even think they're in the double digits at the moment. They might be in like 9 million, maybe 10 million. They're right on the cusp, something like that. But yeah, it's a very small user base. And yeah, I think Hulu actually beats them out on subscribers as well. So yeah, I would not want an Apple TV Plus. Apple TV Plus is just yeah. Yeah. Bub's Revenge says, dang, what a missed opportunity by Apple. Why even bother? That's because they didn't they put a lot of money into it, but they didn't think about their content. They shut a lot of people out too because they said, "Oh, we're only going to Apple, it's only going to be on an Apple TV box. We're not going to allow it to go through, other stuff." I think they do allow it now on other stuff as well, like Roku and whatnot. But I think it was too little, too late. Yeah, DC Universe does deserve a lot more. I agree with you, Penn. It really does. It's got some good stuff on it. A lot of good stuff. A lot more than HBO Max does right now. That's for sure. The only thing I'm not liking right now is my rewards are not kicking in again for some reason. I'm watching stuff and I'm not getting any rewards for what I'm watching. I noticed that it just started doing that today. Yeah. Or yesterday. Actually started doing it yesterday, last night. That's when I saw it. Because I'm stuck at 100 points right now. After I spent some, of course. All right. And speaking of Apple TV Plus, and this might anger you, they're rebooting Fraggle Rock. That's right. I don't know how they got the rights to Fraggle Rock because it is a Muppet show. I thought it was part of Jim Henson Productions, and I thought Disney owned all of that. But no, they actually own it, and they are going to be rebooting Fraggle Rock. And it's like, come on, can't you just continue the adventures of Fraggle Rock that that were going on? Yes, they did do their own little mini series, if you will, and that's kind of what left their that's kind of what drove their decision in order to do the reboot of it. But I really think they should have just continued on to the story. Yeah. Why does everything have to be rebooted? Yeah, exactly, Bubs. So unfortunately, we are in the era of nostalgia, and everything from 30, 40 years ago is being rebooted for people my age to say, "Oh yeah, I remember that show." Unfortunately, a lot of us are really fucking jaded too, and we're like, "Can you give us something new?" I've seen that before, and yes, while I do appreciate my old TV stuff and whatnot, that's why I have DVDs back there and all that kind of stuff. I want to see something new from all the different books that are available and other things out there as well. Is Henson going to be attached? I don't know, Keith. That's a good question. I know that this actually might be part of. I don't even know if Henson's kid is attached to this one or not. I don't think he owns the rights to that one anymore, right? I think all he owns is Avenue Q, is what it is. It's which is his own production, which is good. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I don't think he has anything to do with Fraggle Rock. But then again, I could be wrong. Who knows? They just announced it fairly recently. I'm sure there'll be more news on it later. And speaking of crazy, remember I talked about Tom Cruise being shot up into space, not into the sun, but to film a movie aboard the International Space Station? Well, they found a director who's crazy enough to be shot into space with him. And it's a good director, actually. It's a favorite director of mine, Doug Liman. Now, if Doug Liman's name sounds familiar, you have the first Bourne movie to thank him for. He did the very first Bourne movie with that badass car chase scene. He does really badass car chase scenes. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Live, Die, Repeat, the Tom Cruise one where he keeps getting killed over and over and over again, which is a great movie because he gets to die over and over and over again. And I mean, Doug Liman, he also did Swingers. That was his first movie way back when. And he's a really good, accomplished action movie director. Just a great all-around director, to tell you the truth. I want to see him do more stuff. I just don't want to see him do it with Tom Cruise up on the space station. Unless it's going to be something really, it'll probably be really good because they're, Doug Liman's involved. I'm not a big fan of Tom Cruise, so unless he's dying repeatedly. Although, who knows? Maybe it could be the sequel. They keep talking about the sequel to Edge of Tomorrow or Live, Die, Repeat or whatever it's being called. Yeah. The multiple choice name movie. We have a couple of those, Penn. There's also Harley Quinn, or the Emancipation of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, or the Birds of Prey, or that movie that has that Harley Quinn girl in it from Suicide Squad, or yeah. And then of course there's Blade Runner, the director's cut, the super specialist extended director's cut, the absolutely final suspended director's cut, or the really, this is the final cut of the director's cut, or the super special secret edition of the director's cut of Blade Runner, and then the edited for TV version of Blade Runner. And you get my point. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that's got multiple fucking names to it. So Henry Cavill is in talks with Warner Brothers to return to the screen as Superman. Yes, he is in talks right now to return to the big screen as Superman. And I, for one, cannot be happier about this, especially if Zack Snyder is nowhere near Superman at all. Keep him as far away from it as possible. I don't want the Zack Snyder. I don't want the Murderverse anymore. I really don't. I like the universe that Shazam set up, and I want to see more of that universe with Henry Cavill as Superman in that universe. That's what I want to see. Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman universe. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see the Snyder Murderverse. I really don't. And I really don't want to see Ezra Miller as Flash ever again. I really don't. Unfortunately, we're going to see him again in the Snyder cut. Yeah. Oh, it's a huge good move for them, Penn. Yeah. They have a name, they have a face that's already visible. Yes, he had his, social media problems, if you will, but a lot of people don't know what those were. They didn't see them. They've been scrubbed from the internet, all that kind of stuff. You can find them if you want to go and see what it is. And yeah, I'm not going to make any excuses for him. I really am not. So I don't know what he meant. I don't know what he intended or anything like that, nor do I want to interpret. That's up to you to decide on that one. I just looking at it as Superman, and I like his version of Superman, minus the writing that was done to make him a murderer. So, what else do I have? I've only got a couple things left. Paul Feig, the guy who's responsible for Ghostbusters 2016, he's going to direct the Netflix film adaptation of the book The School for Good and Evil, which is based on fairy tale characters, I guess, going to high school is what's going on. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this stuff where you take established characters and put them in a high school. They could have been they've done this with superheroes, they've done this with literary characters, all that kind of stuff, where they throw them into a high school situation as they were as kids. Ugh. I'm fairly sure this is a YA book. And I don't know why they're getting Paul Feig to direct this, but sure, why not? It's supposed to be a movie for Netflix, so we'll see what happens with it. If he's going to play nice or if he's going to do something weird. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Paul Feig at all. Yeah, not a big fan. I like Bridesmaids. Bridesmaids was good, but I think that was more due to the writing than the actual directing. There. That's about as political as I'm getting today. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has been greenlit. So if you enjoyed the first one, which I guess did some good money out there, I didn't see it. I heard about it. I know people liked it. I heard good things about it. All I know is about the Uncanny Valley, the the really weird look that Sonic looked like beforehand, and they dumped like, what was it, $50-60 million into that movie to redo Sonic in all those scenes. Oof, man. And I guess it paid off because now they're doing a second one. And James Marsden needs work, so why not? And also Jim Carrey, I guess, as well, because he was in that too, right? Yeah. Because I don't think James Marsden's coming back to Westworld. I hate to say it, but I'd like him to come back. We need Teddy to come home. We do. So the final little bit of news that I've got here, Josh Boone, who's the director of the long-suffering New Mutants movie that's supposed to be coming out now in October, I think. I want to say it's October. I don't know. Well, he had planned for originally for a trilogy. So he says if this first one actually makes money and if Disney will back it, he's got an idea for a trilogy of movies. Now, this is not just him talking out of his ass. I've heard this before in other stuff, but he just tweeted this out again this week. And I can get behind that if he's not going to step on Marvel's toes about how they're going to bring out the mutants into the MCU. If the New Mutants are somehow going to be involved in this as well, they have to be. I mean, you've got some pretty big characters in the New Mutants. Magic, Wolfsbane, of course, Cannonball, all that kind of stuff. They're tied in with the X-Men Legend stuff. And yeah, I want to see if it's going to be a good movie or not. I know it went back to a horror film on this one, and that's what they've shifted it back over to. That's why it's coming back out in October now instead of, I think it was supposed to come out in April. Yeah, it was supposed to come out in April. So now I think it's coming out in October. Don't quote me on that, though. I could be wrong. So that's all the news I've got for today and this week. Well, at least until Saturday. Bub's Revenge says, I like the sound of it. Hope it's good. Yeah, I do too. And I guess he said, Josh Boone says, there's a certain point in time. He goes, he can keep noodling with it. And I understand where he's at. As an artist, you look at something and the deadline gets extended out, right? So you start, what? I'm just going to fudge with this one little thing that didn't make me happy. Oh, well, there's this other thing that doesn't make me happy. So you fix that. Oh, I'm going to fix. And then you start, reworking the piece, if you will, to the point where you kind of overwork it and then it becomes crap. And he said he stopped himself from doing that. He actually said, you know what? It's done. It's in the can. It's done. I'm not doing any more of it. And I commend him on that one. It's really hard to do when you have been working on something for so long and it's your baby and you want to see it do well and you want to see it accepted out there and stuff like that. And you get more time. You get a lot more time. And you just stop and you have to say, okay, this is it. It's done. And sometimes you just get exasperated too as an artist and you're like, fuck it, it's done. Kind of like what I did back here. That's my piece, by the way. That guy up there. You can't really see it all that well, but it's Hellboy around the borders there. And then I've also hand drawn in some tentacles with gold and copper leaf pen. That's what I've done. So there's tentacles, like a tentacle there. There's a tentacle over here. There. If I point it up a little bit more, you can see some more up at the top there. There you go. Yeah. And also I hand cut the Authority, Comics Code Authority sign. It's on foam board. That's what it is there. So I had to take out a little knife and scoop all that shit out. So it's mounted, so it's got a little 3D effect going on there. But Yeah, so I understand where he's coming from on that. You noodle it to a certain point, then you're just like, it's fucked up now. And I got to go back, is what you say. It's like, yeah, I've got to go back and fix all of that now. Or you go back to if you're smart enough and you're doing stuff digitally and you have previous stuff saved and you go, okay, that's where I fucked up, is right back there. So I can go back to this point and erase everything else that I just fucked everything up on. Stuff like that, you can't go back on. Once you've done it, you're just like, yeah, it's done. Yeah. And I was happy with the way it came out. The only thing I was not happy about was normally I have a little for the border. I would have opaqued it out a little bit more with a little more. It would have been a little whiter kind of thing, so it's more diffuse on the images, and you would have seen the tentacles pop a little bit more. That was my only drawback on it. But enough of that. What else do I have going on this week? Tomorrow is going to be Is It Worth My Time? And wow, I kind of blanked on what I was doing there. See, this is what happens. I start talking, my brain goes. Is It Worth My Time? Space Force on Netflix, season 1 of Space Force. I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow. So if you guys are interested, that's what I'm doing. And you're going to say, well, is that genre? Yeah, it is actually. And I'm not going to say why. Well, yeah, I'll say why, because quite honestly, it is science fiction with this administration that we have going on. There's no way we would get people into space unless we really, really wanted to shoot them out of a cannon or something like that. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. Thursday, I'm off. Friday, of course, is the excellent Harley Quinn. Saturday is the return of Saturday Morning Blast Off in its regular time. Yes, I'm going to be doing Saturday Morning Blast Off again. Sunday, I'm off. I'm going to take Sunday off again. Ooh, I actually lost my, sorry about that. I had to use my finger on that one because I lost my cursor. Yeah, Sunday, I'm not going to do anything. And then, of course, Monday is going to be Stargirl. And then Tuesday, I don't know what I'm doing next Tuesday. I might be doing another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I might have 2 back-to-back episodes. I might actually be talking about HBO Max. HBO Max. I might be talking about that because I went through that thing and, oof, boy, yeah. Boobs on the Moon by 2024. Exactly, Keith Hamilton. Boobs on the Moon. Boobs on the Moon. I'm glad someone else watched that too. So, if you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up here at the very end. If you like that, hit the subscribe button. Up here is going to be Stargirls, what's going to pop up there. And if you want to know when we're going live again next, you can hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at my live stream schedule up there and all the links to my social media as well. So, I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you, everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. Thank you if you made it through this video. Stay safe out there. Hopefully everything goes well, and I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see how things are. So until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find yourself strapped to some kind of cannon being shot out into space, because that's pretty much all the money NASA has in a budget. Thanks, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, have a good night. Stay safe, and have a good one. Night.